Alright, we are recording for chapter 6, which I don't know if I can predict how long this video is going to be. Um, in some ways it's a short chapter, there isn't that much in it, but at the same time, I might see myself rambling on. So we'll see. So this is Obi-Wan and Anakin having their reunion with Jar Jar and Padme. Which felt a little overdone. Jar Jar not recognizing Anakin. I mean, I get it, but okay. Jar Jar not recognizing him feels overdone, but that might also just be because it's Jar Jar, and he kind of is an excitable and exaggerated character, so might just be that. Padme not recognizing him initially is like, okay, no, I can understand. I can see that. But it is doors open, see the apartment with her in there. Whoops. Let me turn that back off. There we go. Turn on the tracking. I don't want it doing that at the moment. But Obi-Wan walks in and she recognizes him immediately, which makes sense. I mean, he's grown a beard and has longer hair, but it's still, it was an adult when she knew him before, adult now, recognize. And it, it's the whole, she sees him, starts talking to him, and does like glance at Anakin, then glances right back, because it's like, that's obviously the Padawan. Don't know who that is. But for Anakin, he sees her and immediately recognizes her, and is just basically doesn't see anyone else in the room, only sees her, and is just focused on her, seeing how beautiful she is, and how basically she's exactly as he remembers, or even more beautiful now. And it's like he needs to stop, close his eyes, and take a deep breath, which they did also set this up a little bit earlier, but that he still knows her scent, even, which kind of sounds creepy, but it's not meant in that way. And I mean, also to be fair, in this, as an aside, scent is actually one of the most significant emotions because, as I recall, it's the only one of them that has a direct connection to the brain. Everything else is something that filters between, like even even your eyes, because it is cells in the cells in the eye that convert the light into the signals that then the brain then goes to the brain. There is steps in between, whereas scent is directly wired to the brain. So it's also why it can be the most powerful at affecting bringing up memories, I should say, recalling memories. But anyway, getting back to the point. He does that, and now it's like, okay. Now he has the problem of, I want to run to her and give her a hug because even without the romantic stuff, it still is. She's an old friend he cares very much about, but it's also he knows he can't do that. He has to walk behind Obi-Wan, but then it's like, okay, I need to start doing that, and my legs don't want to move. So he's got the whole, I want to run to her, or I want to just not move at all. And it's just like, I actually like this, because like, yeah, I get all that. I see it all being like, no, this would actually happen to a man in that situation, so I'm good with it. It is also a little interesting. So, for the most part, until the end, it is Anakin's point of view that we have. So, in his head. It would be a little amusing if we got it from her head a little bit. Well, I guess we do get it a little bit, but not too much. It's mainly his perspective. So, it's a bit clearer just how friend-zoned he is. Like, in the movie, you can kind of get it, but it's a lot clearer in the book. That, to her, it's just, this is little Annie, and how it's even described, when she says, you'll still be that little boy I knew on Tatooine. It even says in there, like, she could grab my lightsaber and cut my legs off, and I still wouldn't be smaller than I'm feeling right now. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I'll get to it. But there is something about this, and with her, when we do get to her perspective, which is later when she's alone, that it helps make that all make sense. And just, that's right. So, in the scene in the movie, and is also in the book, a lot of it is basically 1-to-1. There is more in the book than in the movie. But it's not that, this difference isn't that great as far as what is being said. It's mainly being in Anakin's head. But in the movie, when Anakin suggests that, no, we will investigate who's trying to kill you, and Obi-Wan's like, what? No, we're not. We're not doing that. That's not why we're here. We're just here to protect. In the book, it explains that is, and I just realized this is chapter 6 of Attack of Clones. Normally I try to say at the start, I forgot to do that this time. Anyway, it's explained in the book why he's doing that, why Anakin is doing that. It's because he had already been dressed down by Obi-Wan, and he's basically trying to show himself as being more competent, more in control. So, and he's trying to push back, and it even is written in a way like he knows he shouldn't be doing this, but he still feels compelled. He has to do something to make himself better, to make himself more important here, to stand taller, essentially, instead of just being Obi-Wan's Padawan here, who Obi-Wan is in charge. He wants to be a bit higher, and there is a part of me, and even with the start of it, with them going up in the elevator and how Obi-Wan's just taking it all in, and they get a laugh because Anakin's really tense meeting her and all that, and Obi-Wan says she's not the queen anymore, and I think this is in the movie, and he's like, that's not what's worrying me. The disconnect between them is interesting because of how at that moment it is in the elevator, it is Obi-Wan clearly just doesn't understand the whole no. Anakin, even without the romance stuff, it still is. This is a dear and important friend to Anakin that he's not seen in a decade. That's why he's stressed. Okay? It's like, she's not queen anymore. It's like, why would you even suggest that, Obi-Wan? You're clearly not thinking about this. And that shouldn't even... That's a character fault of Obi-Wan. That's not to do with Jedi. Like, I mean, in theory, yeah, Jedi wouldn't necessarily understand the value and significance of friends, but they do have them. I'm saying they would have friends, absolutely have friends. So it is, Obi-Wan is just clueless here. So then later when they are sparring back and forth verbally, it's again kind of a character fault here with Obi-Wan that he's trying to continue to be the master with Anakin the Padawan, and he's doing so verbally in a more critical way than is probably necessary. Like, the whole, we will investigate, because, I mean, clearly that we should also be doing that. It's part of protecting her. If he had said, Obi-Wan could have, instead of just correcting him, could have said something a bit more diplomatic, like, if that is where our duties take us. But our first duty is to protect you. Basically the whole, if someone tries to come and kill you, we're going to stop them. If we happen to capture them, though, and that gives us information, then obviously we will be investigating that. Something like that. Obi-Wan could have done something, but no. He's basically saying, no, Anakin, be quiet. Stop talking. I'm in charge here. This is what we do. And it's actually Padme who even says, ever the diplomat, tries to calm it down between them. And there is, then after that, a little bit, like, only in private can Obi-Wan be kind of a bit more equal with Anakin instead of being Master and Padawan, so it's... I don't know. I'm trying to think of reasons why, and it might be an element of this is his first Padawan, so he doesn't necessarily have experience with handling them. And how much of it might be... This may sound weird, but that he shouldn't have made the promise to Qui-Gon to train Anakin, to take him under his wing like that. Because it could still be a certain amount of resentment there that this is on him because he accepted the role, not because he necessarily chose it. It is possible. It is possible. I don't know. That might be reading way too much into the character. But it is just, I could believe that there is a certain... One way or the other, he is... And Obi-Wan does seem to be ill-equipped to be for this Master-Padawan relationship. One way or the other. That's not to say what Anakin was doing was right, but still is... Obi-Wan could probably handle it a bit better. I could see Qui-Gon definitely handling it better. Like, the whole, we'll investigate. It's like, our first duty is to protect you. Like, that is what we are here for. That is what we will do. And then not even say anything more. Just, it's the first duty is that, so let it be implied, or rather inferred, that the second duty will be to investigate. So I'm not saying we're not doing it, but that's not why we're here, Anakin. You need to remember that. Okay, so last bit is, and I just want to, yeah. We now have Padme. She has retired into her room, and she's thinking on what has just happened, and it's interesting because it's kind of like two main points going on, two and a half, to a degree. The half point relates to one of them, hence why it's a half point. Is she's thinking about her interactions being a woman with various men, and how she's basically always been a politician. So she is so used to, whenever dealing with men, it's in that way, where what can they get from her as far as like trade deals and things like that? That's always why they come to her. I could believe that's no. That's why you think they like you so much, but they could also be that they find you attractive, so or like the sound of your voice, so they like talking with you, they like being near you and all that. Not that there's anything going to happen there, to be clear, but it's still, that can be a thing where it's just, no, easy on the eyes, easy on the ears, I like working with you. That might be going on and she's just oblivious to it. Anyway, she's thinking about that. And there's an element of, like, she's not used to there being a man around her that is interested in her in any other way. It actually does describe it as, hang on, I just want to make sure I get the wording right. Padme was well aware that she was attractive to men in ways deeper than physical attraction, in ways deeper than an emotional bond. So, I mean, it's how she thinks about it. She's this is about the previous point I was trying to make, where I don't think she's fully aware of some of that. I mean, deeper than physical attraction. Okay, yes, it's plenty deeper than that. In ways deeper than any emotional bond. I'm not sure exactly that, unless, well, I mean, remember, her priorities are kind of screwed up. She doesn't think about her own emotions so much, about herself even, so. But, yeah, so think about that. So for her, the idea of somebody being there, a man being there, who is romantically interested in her, I much prefer describing it that way. Using the term romantically there, just to be clear, that is my intention for how I will be describing this. She's not used to that. And it kind of is making her uncomfortable, or at least uneasy, because, and it is funny, because she's, like, in front of a mirror brushing her hair, and she's actually starting to look at herself and think about how Anakin might be looking at her as, sort of I guess I am attractive. Well, no, she knows she's attractive, but, still seeing that and all that. And it's making her actually a little uncomfortable. And it even talks about how she then becomes aware of the nightgown she's wearing, and that there are cameras in the room, security cameras, and she had gotten used to those being clinical. Like, those are just there. It's a clinical thing to her. It's like, whatever, even for more private moments, or how did it put it? Okay. Security cams with guards watching her every move were a fact of her existence, and so she had learned to go about her daily routines, even the private ones, without a second thought to the intrusive eyes. But now she realized that a certain young Jedi might be on the other end of those lenses, which, in some ways, well, I don't think it's appropriate to necessarily see that as he's going to be creepy. He's awkward. He's not creepy at the moment. He is awkward there. She might be concerned about it being creepy, but I think it might also be it's like she even said, the private routines, like, just how she dresses and such, might be what she's thinking about, and how it's like, wait a minute, I normally don't care what the security cameras would see as far as, like, how she dresses, but now it's like, maybe I want to wear more of the frumpy clothes is what I'm thinking. It's what I'm imagining here, is that because maybe I don't want to potentially look attractive on these cameras, whereas before she wouldn't have cared one way or the other. That's how I'm choosing to interpret it, because I don't like the idea of her seeing him as creepy. Um, I just, I mean, she does still have some acknowledgement here. Yeah, she saw him again in her thoughts, and clearly her mental eyes roamed over his lean and strong frame, over his face, tight with the intensity that she had always admired, yet with eyes sparkling with joy, with mischief, with longing. She started to question. I mean, I think it is safe to say that this is at least an attempt at like starting the process for her being attracted to him and considering romantic possibilities with him. So and I think that's probably the reason why I don't really like the idea of already marking it as though it's creepy. Um, Especially because we do know that, by the end of the book, they're supposed to be married. Um, that, this is supposed to be the start of a love story for them. So we will see how that goes. Yeah, and there's also some element here of she admires the Jedi Oath and how basically that means that nothing will happen. But, yeah. How could he even look at her in such a manner? So was it all her imagination or was it her fantasy? So again, I think that it's not a creepiness here. It's more of she's like becoming aware of there is somebody that looks at her that way. And not in a creepy way. Just maybe I need to start being more cognizant of that. I think that's a better way to interpret it here. Cognizant that there is somebody that with a romantic interest in her. As opposed to just people that are just trying to keep her alive. The security cameras and such. That's what they're there for. Okay. That's about all I got. The next chapter looks like it should be pretty short, only a few pages, so I'll probably do that shortly. And actually, I've just seeing the very first few words, it appears to include some aspect of the bounty hunter that has been sent after her. So, yeah. See you next time.